This group single-handedly shut down New York Times Square for a meet and greet that ended up with 20,000 fans.
Girls were grabbing at us, ripping our shoes off, peeing their pants, throwing up. My mum, absolute G, she's hugging them. It's okay, and then selling them merch. We ended up doing 4 world tours, and then there was Wembley Arena, which was I think like 15,000. We ended up throwing parties called Wasted Wednesdays. Kylie Jenner, Kendall Jenner, they were there every single week. My memory of my past is this big celebrity pissing in my closet.
What? Ed Sheeran did this.
I'm 15 months sober. At the moment, I work in a mail room, so I'm starting right from the bottom again.
This guest we have on today, as we always say, very special guest, because all our guests are special. But this one in particular has had a crazy life, bro.
Yeah.
Crazy life. So, this man was a part of Australia's most famous YouTube group. Janoskians right here. Number 1.
I thought that was you, bro.
Number 2. Number 1. No, nowhere close. This group single-handedly shut down New York Times Square for a meet and greet that ended up with, get this,
5,000 people.
6,000.
20,000 fans.
Bro, that's like a Fred Again concert.
20,000 fans. Crazy. They did a movie with Mike Tyson. They did world tours in stadiums like Wembley Arena, which is the home ground of Arsenal Football Stadium.
Wow.
These guys partied with Ed Sheeran, and one of the boys in the group actually dated Ariana Grande.
Wow. This is some big time stuff.
Big cause, hey. However, 10 years later in 2024, the group are actually now no longer together anymore in the public eye or even doing videos. And they now have normal jobs such as videography, one's a painter, one's a stay-at-home dad. And our guest today currently works at a peanut factory.
Wow.
So without further ado, please welcome to the locker room, Beau Brooks.
Yeah.
Woo! Thank you. That was a very warm welcome. And just to address the peanut factory, I don't work there anymore. I actually got fired from the peanut factory.
How'd you
You got
get fired?
Eating too many of them off the line.
No, that's the good thing about the peanut factory, which is why I loved working there, is that they let you eat as many peanuts as you want.
You
so
put on
that
weight?
was fine.
You put on weight?
No, I didn't, because
you were
they had me sweating. They had me. Yeah, I was lifting boxes and eating peanut. But I got fired for taking a selfie at work.
No way.
No
You got
way.
fired for
Yeah.
taking yourself, like not on your lunch break or something? Or
So no, it wasn't on my lunch break.
you
I was
exposing
on
the-
a scissor lift, and I thought it was really cool.
Okay.
And I took a photo. And what had happened was the Daily Mail picked up that I was working in a peanut factory.
Wow.
And they posted about it, and the peanut factory didn't like that attention, so they said, "Sorry, you no longer have a job here."
What?
Maybe you thought you were
Yeah.
going to expose the secret recipe for the peanuts.
Wouldn't that be free exposure
The
for
peanut
them, though?
butter secret ingredient.
So what do you do now then?
So at the moment, I work in a mail room, so I'm starting
Wow.
right from the bottom again. And
Wow.
yeah, I got the job at the peanut factory and in the mail room because I've just come out of, we'll touch on it later, out of an addiction. So I'm 15 months sober. And
Amazing.
Congrats,
I-
man.
Well done.
thank
That's
you so
amazing.
much. And I needed to find that hard work again
Yep.
and that foundation to know that I've got confidence within myself, that I have strength to be able to push through
Yeah.
hard days of work. Also
100%.
know the value of $1.
Yep.
So I'm still currently working there and opportunities keep presenting themselves. It's
Right.
brought me
Amazing.
right here with the Opera
100%.
House behind my. It's so beautiful. So yeah,
awesome.
Awesome, bro.
Well, before we touch on, what you're doing now, it'd be amazing to, I guess, take it all the way back.
Yeah.
Take it all the way back.
The craziest story
Chris
I've
loves
ever heard
taking
in
it
my
all the
life.
way
I
back.
like taking it all the way
You know,
back.
Get context.
Yeah, we want to know, as us boys, we followed you, your journey. I was saying, Jamie, that me and Jamie used to share videos of you guys,
Bro, I know I've said this on the podcast before, but you guys and your group, the Janoskians, you guys were the reason I started making videos.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Really?
Like genuinely, I don't think
Yeah.
I'd be in this position with these guys, with Nick, cameras, in this place with you if it wasn't for you guys. So
Look how it goes
thank you.
full circle,
Wow.
bro.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's cool.
Full circle,
Wow.
bro.
That's
And
crazy,
like,
man.
we used to just send like videos of you guys just cracking up. Like we'd like, this is hilarious because no one did it. Like at the time, no one was doing that stuff.
Yeah.
It was pretty early on.
Yeah.
So I want to know, like, how did it all start? Like, obviously, you know, two of the guys in the Janoskians were your brothers. So that's quite convenient, you know. You guys lived together at the time. Were you guys just one day, you know, just being yourselves, taking the piss, and you're like, oh, let's record this? Like, how did it all start?
How did the Janoskians start? Yeah.
Yeah, and how'd you come up with the name as well? Like, it was, you know?
Yeah, so it did start because we were brothers, and
Yeah.
my brother got a knack for filming from my grandmother, and I always loved presenting. And I think it came from my inspiration, Leonardo DiCaprio, at the time, because when I was 5 years old, my dad left, and it was hard on me because I didn't have a male role model to look up to. So my mum's favorite actor was Leonardo DiCaprio, and I saw the way that Leo treated Rose in the Titanic, and it was very gentle, very warming. So I was seeing my dad abuse my mum to looking at Leo, who's a gentle guy. I naturally just wanted to become an actor because
Emulate
my mum
that,
liked
yeah.
him. I wanted to emulate that.
Yeah.
So whenever my grandmother, my nonna, had the video camera on us, I was like, since the age of 5, I was always presenting and showing my brothers. And
Yeah.
when my mum was at work, I'd want to present to the camera to show her movies the next day.
Yeah, amazing.
That's cool.
And so this followed through. I always wanted to be an actor, and Luke was always good with the camera, and Jay was very creative with his ideas, which like we've all found.
Each had their part.
We've all found our path.
So what age? What age were you guys? Like,
When the YouTube
you-
stuff took
yeah.
off.
How did you even? What was
Yeah.
the first video you were just like, oh, you
Yeah.
know, we'll do something funny?
Something funny, it would have been, it was like, after we uploaded our first funny video, it was
Which
4
was?
months after Awkward Train Situations.
Awkward. That was the OG video, bro. How many views
Yeah.
did that get?
Oh, man, I haven't checked. Millions.
Millions,
But,
eh?
yeah,
That
at
was
the
one of
time,
the first
it
videos
was,
I ever saw. Yeah.
And this was back then when it was very hard to get
This was like
It was
20,
unheard of,
2011,
yeah.
was it? 2010?
yeah, it would have been 2011.
now a million views is not as hard, but
Yeah.
back then
Back
it was
then.
like
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
And it was YouTube views. It wasn't
When-
like just little clips.
Videos weren't even a
Yeah.
thing back then, right?
Well, what was a thing were one-off videos like Charlie Bit My Finger.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Right.
it
Yeah.
was those, and we took YouTube and turned it into a consistent uploading schedule frequently
Amazing.
thing.
Yeah.
Whereas YouTube before that was just kind of like funny home videos.
Yeah.
So when people say that you guys were like the first ones to branch out of Australia, it's because we had that formula,
Yeah.
which was already done before by other people. We just kind of took it to the next level,
Wow.
and probably like the youngest around that time to do that as well.
Wow.
So you've launched your first video. Did the first one go well? Was that the first one? And straight away it went well? Like after
Yeah.
the 4 months, you just saw it go nuts?
It was like the first 2 days, it was just, the views were ticking, the comments were coming in. I remember me and my mate Daniel, we didn't have any internet at his house, and I was sleeping over at his house.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, let's go to an internet cafe, because I get a call from my brother Luke, and he's like, bro, the video's blowing up.
You guys are losing your
the best
shit.
We
feeling, eh?
run to the internet cafe, and we pay for an hour, and we're just like, oh, and Daniel got so excited. He ran onto the street in Coburg on the road in front of all the cars yelling out, we're famous!
That's mad.
And
Yeah.
did you see it translate into real life in the first couple of days? Like, were people saying, "Oh, you were the guys that I just watched on YouTube," or not yet?
Yeah, it was within the first couple of weeks. We were already like little celebrities in our suburb.
What year was
Yeah.
this?
This is 2011.
2011.
How old were you at that point?
That was when
I
Ziz
would've
died.
been around 18. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
so that
yeah.
was that era.
Ziz was a
Yeah.
huge inspiration to us as well.
Really?
Ziz held a lot of what we held, that inner confidence, and
Yes.
didn't care what anyone thought.
Yeah.
100%, yeah.
That's amazing.
So it was that era for sure.
So you've had your awkward train situations go viral. You're now mini celebrities in Glenroy.
yeah.
Glenroy.
Yep.
And then so what happened after that? You guys were like, wow, like this is actually something here. So how did it transpire?
So we were getting a lot of requests to meet our fans. And so we just put up an event on Facebook, and we said, all right, we'll see how it goes. And we went and hired out a room at Luna Park.
In Melbourne, right?
Yeah, in Melbourne.
Yep.
My mum and I went and rented it out, and we saw there was like 400 that clicked attending on the Facebook event page.
What?
And we're
Oh,
like,
were they all
this
girls?
is nuts.
98%?
98%,
guys?
and the other 2% were gay.
Yeah. Yeah. Mass.
So, yeah, there was 400 clicked attending, but 2 hours before the event, we're getting sent video messages, and there were blocks from Luna Park in Melbourne all the way to St Kilda Beach lined
What?
up
Oh my God.
of people.
Bro, that's
So-
like a good 200 meters, yeah?
This is in
Yeah,
the first
there were-
year, bro.
This was in the first 4 months, I think.
Oh my
Oh my
Yeah, it was
goodness,
just
bro.
in, like overnight.
So
That's pretty cool,
Isolation.
What was that moment like when you saw videos of how many people there to meet you before even
Would have
arriving?
been
Like,
exciting.
Our
man.
little
4 months.
house in Glenroy that had cracked floorboards and the bath tipping over was just filled with so much exhilaration, excitement,
Wow.
smiles, tears.
Of course, yeah.
And just so much shock and, yeah, excitement.
wow.
So you've gone there, and it's just a stampede. It's just
Yeah, that's the best way to describe it. We rock up in a Cadillac with no roof, stupidly. And we're sitting back on the Cadillac and we're just like, the Queen? Yeah, like the Queen. And we're like, we made it. Like the security had never dealt with anything like that before because it's Luna Park and they had the Luna
Wow.
Park
Of
security.
course.
And these girls were grabbing at us, ripping our shoes off, throwing up, peeing, crying, laughing,
peeing.
What did you
peeing
From
their,
excitement.
peeing their pants, throwing up, hysterically breaking down, jolting, shaking. What? It was a lot. It was a lot. I was not prepared for it at all. And my mum, she's absolute G. No, my mum's absolute G. She's going up, hugging them, giving them, it's okay, and then selling them merch.
That's so funny.
Yeah, my mum knew what she was doing.
Cash only, yeah?
You know what? Fix your pee. Buy this shirt.
And speak about the cash only, because it was cash only. Straight after the meet and greet ended, the police shut it down. We went to a hotel to count the money.
How much did you have?
My mum stacked it up in $1,000 piles. There were $40,000 on the hotel bed. And we're like, boys, let's go get kebabs. Smash some kebabs.
Bro,
You
this
made
is wild.
$40,000. How much
Yeah.
was the merch? How much were they selling it for?
Mum's a very fair person. So we were selling it for, I think it was like $60 a hoodie back then, like $20 or $30
What?
for a t-shirt, like
And you made
$5
40 grand.
bracelets. It was,
Dude, that's
insane.
wild.
What the hell?
Insane.
And this is 4 months after their first viral video. Like
4 months after your
this is
first
just the
YouTube
beginning.
video.
That's the power of
Yeah.
OG
This is
social
This is the
media.
beginning.
Bro,
Yeah.
I think I was OG. You guys were phase 1, phase 0 OG.
Yeah,
Far
yeah,
out.
yeah.
Okay,
So,
so where did it go?
I remember your meet and greet that we had with you at
Yes.
Fed Square is very
That was
similar.
way big.
We did a
Way
combined.
bigger.
Yeah, yeah.
Way bigger.
It was way bigger, guys.
But you get that feeling as
Oh, yeah,
well of
yeah, yeah.
people idolizing you.
It's crazy,
So,
bro.
Yeah.
so where did it go
Crazy.
from there? So obviously you had this meeting 4 months in.
Yeah.
What were you after that? You're obviously over the moon. This you see, all right, this has potential.
How do
You
we
guys
capitalize?
on a high? All right, what's next? How you're obviously thinking, how do we take our videos to another level? We have money to fund this. Do we do a bigger meet and greet? Do we go global? Like, what's your thought process and how did you start?
And what
getting
opportunities did you get
momentum?
as well?
And did you get a manager at this time where people coming up? Like, I'm sure when everyone sees the attention, everyone wants to get involved.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll take you to the next level.
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
here. And there's a lot of dodgy people too that you've got to sift through.
And you guys are so young. You're still in high school.
impressionable as well.
What do you do? Yeah.
It was momentum from that, and every single opportunity that we got given, we did have to pick out which opportunities were best, but we were taking in so many opportunities that it could not snowball
Yeah.
into success. So from that meet and greet, we got Sony Records, we got MTV, and a management team from Los Angeles contact us
Wow.
wanting to work with us. And we're like, this is it. And with the videos and the budgeting and stuff, the best thing about our videos is that it was so organic and authentic that we didn't have to put any thought process into it. We just lift the camera and have a small idea and just
Yeah.
roll with it. So we didn't have to budget. So everything that we got in, we kind of invested into like merchandise and getting us on plane rides to America to sit interviews and do stuff
wow.
like that.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Okay. So,
Yep.
so you've done Luna Park, then you've gotten all these opportunities. What was the next sort of big moment that happened? Like, did the money start rolling in straight away? And if so, how much were you guys sort of making at that time?
Yeah, it didn't really it wasn't the big money that we saw later on, but it was kind of like those $50,000 advances from record label companies to get us started and to get us going and that type of stuff. And so nobody's going to invest a whole ton of money in you at the start until they've done
Proof.
like phase 1,
Yeah.
phase 2, phase 3. So we went through phase 1 and we just smashed it out of the park. And I think that's just because it wasn't a job for us. It was something that we were just fun and excited
But
to
you're just
do.
being yourselves. Like you're not even.
Imagine
you're
that.
like, how are we getting paid? Just taking a piss, having fun.
Yeah,
Well, imagine
it's so
that.
insane.
Like,
Yeah.
bro, like just for context, I go through so much planning for every single video I do. Like,
You
it's
have to now.
You have to now. You have to
back
now.
then, it's just let's take the piss. have
100%.
fun.
Back then versus now is so different. And I always tell people, like, even on my own videos, you know, and I'm sure you guys were the same. You could do a 5-minute intro. Like,
Yeah.
hey guys, my name's this. Look at the weather today. I'm in Sydney. Like,
Oh,
look how
back
big I am.
then, back then,
Oh, you see,
yeah.
back then
Yeah,
you could, but
yeah,
now
yeah,
it's
you
like
could.
millisecond.
Short
you
attention
got,
span.
Yeah,
now.
short attention span, which sucks.
Crazy.
But yeah, it comes and goes, you
Of
know.
course,
So
yes.
what people are going to fall in love with at the end of the day is the person that you are. And you're going to get
Absolutely.
that core niche audience that follow you because they trust your values.
course.
And it might not be in the millions, but you get that small amount of
Yeah.
people, which is like what
Absolutely.
I do it for.
Yeah.
That sit through the good mornings and the weather and
Yeah, of
stuff
course.
just to hear what you've got to say, as long as it's something truthful and of value.
100%, bro.
So yeah, that's how that happened, and
Wow.
we had a whole bunch of people that wanted to listen through that weather stuff, and that's what propelled us into stage 2 of the funding,
Yes.
which was CAA in Los Angeles.
What does
which-
CAA stand for?
It's the Death Star. So it's pretty much where
Oh, sounds
all
Death
the
Star.
movie industries, all the record labels, all the TV shows come to this one agency because this agency has the best reputation of producing the best talent. So
Wow.
we needed to sign up with the Death Star. And the
Sounds a
only
bit demonic.
way,
Hey? Yeah. Star.
yeah, well, yeah, if you look at it in some ways, it
Yeah,
can
yeah.
be, but in other ways, it can be a great opportunity as long as you know deep down inside what you're doing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so we went in with genuine, innocent, pure intentions, which is why I don't think we ever got invited into any of those crazy parties that you hear in
Yeah,
Los
corrupted,
Angeles.
Yeah.
We're like, so how can we get into CAA? So we sent out a tweet on Twitter to all of our fans, hey, meet us at this address at this time. And it was at the front of CAA building.
Oh, smart.
What?
Yeah, so they had to let us in, and they escorted us in with security, and we walked straight into a boardroom with a meeting of all people, and they're like,
That's genius.
Hell
yeah, yeah.
Bro, that's marketing genius right there.
Yeah,
How many fans did you have outside?
There were like 1,000.
What?
In America?
Yeah, in
And this wasn't
America.
even your hometown, home
Nah,
country,
this-
anything.
yeah, Los Angeles, which is like hard to do in Los Angeles too, because
100%.
Brad Pitt's just walking down
Yeah.
the street.
So
So
it's
you
like Chris
guys-
Brown across the road, and they're
Yeah.
running to the Janoskians.
So you
Yeah,
guys
it's-
literally went from like just normal kids in Australia in Melbourne in a tiny suburb to then meet and greet in Luna Park and then global. Like you were all of a sudden famous globally as well, even in America. Mm-hmm. Wow, that's insane.
So what were the biggest videos that were blowing up back then? I know for all the OG
I remember the
people,
milk challenge.
The milk
bro.
challenge is
Milk
one that I
challenge,
remember.
I remember the milk
Was that your
challenge.
most famous video? Or what was
I
like,
think so. I
blew
think
you
that's
up?
what I'm most remembered for.
Milk challenge?
Yeah, but
was sick.
it's not the highest viewed, but it's just like in people's brains because of all the different colors.
Yeah. what other
remember
videos
that.
that went
Awkward train
viral?
situations.
There was the
obviously.
invisible rope, 3-step
Yeah,
door
yeah,
knocking.
yeah, that was
Um,
good.
Yep.
How did
We
you
did.
come up with these ideas? Was it your brother? You said the ideas guy.
And guys, before we continue, we want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, Getaways.
The boys and I are blessed to be partnering up with Getaways, who have some of the most amazing short-term accommodation in the country.
Whatever the occasion, whether it's a cheeky boys trip away or you want to surprise your partner with a holiday, Getaways has got you covered.
And guys, go ahead and check out Getaways on their website or on their social media platforms. We'll be leaving the link in the description below. And without further ado, let's jump straight back into the episode.
Jay did come up with a lot of them. The 3-step door knocking we used to do when we were like 12 years old with our mates after high school. So we used to do that just to dare each other who's got like the biggest balls, pretty much.
Yeah.
A lot from childhood stuff. And the invisible rope we actually stole from a YouTube video made in the UK that only had 200 views at the time.
Solid.
So
Nice.
we stole that idea.
That's
no
fine,
no
man.
one
Who
else was
cares?
doing it.
Yeah.
And that got millions.
Yeah. You're getting millions of views. All right, so now
Yeah.
you're in LA at this point. So your whole family relocated to LA to
Yep.
keep the ball rolling.
Yep.
And then what happened after that? Obviously, it's a big jump. You move to a new country. You're going all in on this dream, right? What were the other key moments that you look back and go, man, that was like a standout moment? Like we said in the intro, the people you met, doors you got open to, management companies. Like, what are the highlights?
What
for you?
was the
Yeah.
first craziest thing? Because there's so many crazy things
Yeah,
you experienced.
bro.
Like, what was the first? Like, I'm talking the first thing that you guys were all like, other than the fame and the attention.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what was the first thing that you guys like?
Staying at the W Hotel for 4 weeks straight. So we had room service every single day in the nicest place we've ever stayed. And we just came out of the suburbs and we're in the fanciest hotel in Los Angeles and we trashed it. Absolutely trashed it. There was a smoking fine in the rooms every single day. And a smoking fine is 400 USD.
Lucky you're not paying for it.
Eating out. Thank you, Jay Sean. We were eating.
Oh, because that was your manager, right? Jay Sean was your manager.
He was the face of our management. So he funded $100,000 to get us over to America.
Wow.
So we ate out the mini fridge 3 times a day. we were kids.
Wow.
We were away from parents, so nobody could tell us
No
that's
discipline.
wrong or, we're just like, let's go crazy. And there were burn holes in the carpet, the telephones were pulled out, the plasmas were smashed, there was food on the floor, smoking fines. So by the time we left the W Hotel, we racked up about $80,000 worth of fines, and we got blacklisted from every single hotel chain under the W. So we couldn't stay at any nice
Can you
hotels
still not
anymore.
stay at them?
I don't know.
So you just like all of a sudden within what 6 to 12 months this is all happening.
Yeah.
And like you guys are so young. Like I'm assuming, did you guys even have jobs back in Melbourne or?
Yeah, I started work at a very early age.
Where'd
I
you
working working at 13, delivering newspaper at like 5 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, cool.
Worked at a sandwich bar at KFC and a few of these jobs. So at a very young age, I've always had very hard work ethics.
But then all of a sudden you're in this.
Yeah.
It's like you're a A-list celebrity all of a sudden.
Yeah. I was putting all that hard work that I put into those jobs
Yep.
into that area of my life and took it very seriously.
Yeah.
And at the start, that's what it was all about. I just wanted to succeed more than anything, I just like, that was my life goal, to buy my mum a house and to look after my family and to also live my dream of being an actor. That's something I held very close to me and would not let it slip until I got all of those things.
Yep.
And so, one year into Los Angeles, and now we're here. Yeah.
Wow. And then
I'm sure a lot of people are wanting to ask you this, and I know you get asked all the time. But what stage was it of your success that, and how did it happen that your brother started dating Ariana Grande?
Yeah.
Because I think everyone knows about that, right? And it's a we don't have to spend too much time on it.
Yeah.
But I just think like, was it your second viral video went crazy, or you hit LA and they ran into each other like a romantic movie? What happened? You know what I mean?
It was Scooter Braun. So Scooter Braun retweeted one of our videos.
and that's Justin Bieber's manager.
That's Justin Bieber's manager.
Yeah.
So that's what got the attention from
insane.
all the
What
Los
the
Angeles
heck?
managers and also the crew in Los Angeles, like Ariana Grande's mum. So I think it was Ariana Grande's mum that tweeted my brother, and they were going back and forth online.
What were they saying?
So her mum linked it up.
Yeah, the mum. I think the mum linked it up.
Wow,
Yeah.
there
How?
you go.
and why?
Yeah, I don't know. Jay posted a video on Twitter, and it was something like, "I'm 17 and you're 19, and we like the same things."
Yeah.
And then the mum showed Ariana that video, and then they started talking.
Oh my
And
goodness.
then we moved over to Los Angeles, and he went to see her in New York a few times before we flew over to Los Angeles and got to know her. And then once we got over to Los Angeles, that's when they started like dating.
That's
and
crazy.
all that
Wow.
type
And what
of
was she
stuff,
like
yeah.
in reality?
Oh, she's so cute.
She's cute.
I can't say that I know exactly because I didn't know her like 100%
Like
as like a
as close as
sister
your
or
brother, of
whatever.
course, of
Yeah,
course.
as what my brother did, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
I only like most I hung out with her was like a few weeks.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So then you guys have killed it in your YouTube career, and then I know that you guys dived into music.
yeah.
How did that happen? Is that just a natural progression? Like, did you guys think like you can't sing? Like you're like, shit, are we singers now? Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I feel like a lot of people in the music industry just kind of like, well, not saying you guys, but we're like, oh, I'm decent. I should give this a shot. Like, how did that happen?
And your songs were actually good. I used to listen to
yeah,
them.
I remember.
They're still saved in my phone.
How did that happen, bro?
We might not have been good. I'm still maybe not as good, but it's just something I love and I have fun with, and it's something I enjoy.
Yeah.
And when you enjoy something, it comes out good,
Amazing.
and a lot of people can resonate with that. So I can't say that we were good, but we were consistent and persistent with trying. So we'd stay in the studio more longer hours than naturally given talented people would stay.
Sure.
And so we just made that successful along like with a lot of the other stuff that we did. And it was Sony that signed us on for Set This World on Fire,
Yeah, I remember that song.
which we released first. I think that sold back when they were selling CDs. That sold like 100,000 copies in Australia. So the record labels were like, okay, yeah, these guys can sell music, so let's give them a shot.
That's crazy.
And then signed us on for an EP deal and more single releases and stuff like that.
And you did world tours, bro. Like, I remember seeing them, watching them with Chris, actually. I remember
Yeah,
we were like,
bro.
bro, the Janoskians are doing Wembley Arena. Like, that was nuts to me, bro. Like, Wembley in
From living the suburbs like
Melbourne,
like working at KFC and like taking a piss for your brothers to selling out music
Yeah.
for music, stadiums
Wow.
for music. Like who would have
football
thought?
stadiums.
Yeah.
What was that like? So, like, where did you perform? How big were the attendees? And, like, run us through, the tour and how a tour was as a whole.
So we ended up doing 4 world tours across Europe, UK, New Zealand, Canada, and Australia.
Wow.
And so some places were bigger than others. Some places we hosted up to 5,000. And then there was Wembley Arena, which was, I think, like 15,000 or something like that.
Crazy, bro.
It's just so insane. And like a message for anybody out there is that I am just a normal guy from the suburbs that grew up around addiction and literal gangsters. When I come online and say I grew up with gangsters, people are like, oh, you're from Broadmeadows, relax. I grew up with gangsters. People walked into my house threatening to kill my mum that have just got out of jail. That's not a gangster. I don't know what a
that's
gangster
crazy.
is.
Wow. That's wild.
So if I can grow up in that and come out and have one mindset and put my mind to it and sell out arenas, anybody can do anything that they put their mind to.
Of course.
But they have to have good intentions and good values. Otherwise, it's going to dip down and there's a chance that you could never come back up out of it.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay, so you're in LA at this time. Obviously, the natural progression is you kind of get caught up in the fame. Everything's happening, right? What was I'd love to jump into the next side of things. After you have the fame and the parties and the access to the famous people, you get caught up in the whole scene,
Yeah.
which everyone does. Like
Yeah.
you're a
Everyone.
young kid.
Yep.
If you don't get caught up in it, then I don't know. You probably
Something's wrong with you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah.
You can't imagine you're a young kid. You have all these things at your fingertips. You're not going to sort of jump into it. What was the natural progression? You're in LA, parties. How did that evolve and how did that affect? Did it affect your ego, your mindset?
Yeah.
Did you get carried away with it all? And then
Great
how
question.
did that progress?
Yeah,
good
very
question.
Yeah, good question. It was definitely my ego because I was no longer wanting to become an actor and singer. I wanted to be the person that held the best house parties.
Oh, right.
Like, what am I? An event manager?
Okay.
I wanted to say I brought in all these names and we ended up throwing parties called Wasted Wednesdays and
Wasted
all the names would come through. That was our main focus.
Who was
And
some
our
of the names?
manager,
Yeah.
Kylie Jenner, Kendall Jenner, all her friends, stars.
What?
Yeah.
They came to your
the
parties?
weekend.
They came to your party.
Yeah, they came, like, they were there every single week. Like, they would come before everyone else would come. And we'd all sit in a circle and have sessions and, yeah.
Sessions.
That's mad.
Like
Not-
Like Monopoly sessions.
Yeah, Monopoly sessions. Yeah.
And where in
Yeah,
LA
yeah.
did you live?
It was in the hills.
Encino or something?
Say that again?
Encino?
No,
Hollywood
not
Hills?
Encino.
bro.
There was Studio City,
Burbank?
one of Burbank. Oh, yeah, I can't even remember. Somewhere in a hill.
So the
somewhere.
Kardashians are just casually chilling at your party, like just like two of the.
How
most
could you
famous
not get an
people-
ego?
Yeah,
some of
yeah.
the most famous people in the world just casually like coming early to your parties. to
Yeah.
hang
On a
out
Wednesday.
on
Yeah.
a Wednesday.
Yeah, but you
Okay.
also have to think back then, like I'm soaking it up now saying Kardashians, but back then the Kardashians weren't
Weren't.
royalty.
Okay.
Like
they
they
were
are now.
still like coming up.
Big, yeah,
It's very
but
humble
not
you
that
to say.
big, Yeah.
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 So
Okay.
it's cool to say now, but at the time, this is not going to sound humble of me. We were bigger than them.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Wow.
People,
were
when
like-
we
they were
go
happy to
out,
be there.
the Paps were taking photos of
You
us,
guys, not them.
and they were there. Like,
Wow.
Yeah, that's
groupies.
crazy.
yeah, it was crazy.
Wow.
All right, so
Yeah.
how did that ego thing play out?
Yeah.
Like obviously you got
Yeah.
you're throwing these parties. How did that evolve? Yeah.
So you can imagine we're getting a whole bunch of alcohol for these parties, and we're partying on all night. And then people that we didn't even know, there'd be 40 people in our lounge room waking up, and then girls naked going into our pools the next day. Yeah. So
That's terrible.
the drinking the drinking continues and the smoking continues, and then our manager's like, "Hey guys, you got a red carpet," and we're like, "Who says at a red carpet?"
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's how it got.
Okay.
We're like, "We got a red carpet.
Yeah.
She's insane. Yeah, so
that's
that's
how big the ego
priorities,
got.
your priorities
that-
changed.
our priorities change, and our ego was like, I remember I did a movie and my manager's like, you need to go do this interview for the movie, and I'm like, I already told them I called in sick.
Yeah.
Like how that is such a big ego, and I wasn't sick, I just didn't want to go.
Yeah.
It's just like getting any opportunity and just saying I'm bigger, I'm better than that.
Yeah.
And that's what it ended up leading into. And my come up was a combination of good choices consistently. My come down was a combination of bad choices consistently.
Wow.
Okay.
And that's
a bomb.
what, led me down that slope, and just kept getting worse, and trying to get myself out of the slope by making bad decisions, thinking that they'd help.
Like what? Like more partying, more drinking, more
Like
drugs.
Valium, diazepam, antidepressants, anti-anxiety when I wasn't prescribed, to wean me off the cocaine, to wean me off the alcohol, to make me feel less anxious when what they
Yeah.
were doing was making me feel more anxious and dependent on them. So I thought a good choice would be to take this pill to help me, but
Yeah.
it wasn't, because it was making everything worse.
Yep.
That's when it got to its like lowest point.
Yeah.
When I was
And I want to
that stage.
I want to touch onto the lowest point and some of the negatives that came after the highs. But before we get there, I want to go into one more high. I want to ask you, who was the biggest, like, what was the biggest celebrity experience you had? Like the craziest thing, like pinch me, like, is this really happening?
it was 100% Ed Sheeran, man.
Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, definitely.
That's
Like,
crazy.
I met a lot of famous people, but Ed, out of all of them, was just the most genuine.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he was just so
Seems like just a chill, cool guy.
one of us.
I don't know him.
Yeah.
It's my
Yeah,
mate.
yeah,
It's not my
yeah.
mate.
But
he just
He's
seems
pretty chill with me too.
He seems down to earth.
he was. He was down to earth, and he didn't even travel with security. And
Oh,
he's
wow.
like, I don't need security because my fan base are all 15-year-old girls.
Yeah.
So I can talk my way out of things. So he was smart, switched on, just someone that I wanted to like be around. I thought that was very cool. And I got to party with him back then, because that's the only way back then I knew how to hang out with people.
Yeah.
Was to party.
Yeah.
And luckily I do remember that, and I didn't get too intoxicated to the point where I forgot that story, because imagine that. But
Wow. Wow.
So you partied with him.
partied, so we were at a red carpet together, and then we went to an after party together, and Sai from Gangnam Style was in our booth.
Bro, that guy was so famous.
And this is when he was popping.
Yeah, right when he was popping.
He was like the most famous guy on the planet.
And
at
these
that point.
guys
Yeah, he
knew.
was.
These guys knew you as well. You, the
Sai
Janoskians.
Sai didn't know anyone.
No.
he just
just
came
knew
to the
himself.
events. Yeah, he just came to the events. Eating KFC chicken in the club. Like, he didn't give a crap. And then, Ed Sheeran was like partying with us and like pouring alcohol down our throat, and we're all like partying. And at the end of the night, we leave the club, and he follows behind us, and he's like, "Oh, do you want to have some kick-ons, boys?" And we're like, "Yeah, yeah, sounds good." So he came over to our hotel, and we had like 5 different rooms in the hotels we're staying at, because we were like touring, so we all got our own room.
Yeah.
But we all went into one room to smoke up, and he was on the edge of the bed, and we were on the floor, like looking up at him like this, like he was our
Like his
teacher.
kids. Yeah.
And he was telling us stories about how he got in the middle of Selena and Justin Bieber
Wow.
back then, and he wrote a song about it. And I can't remember what song it was, but it was one of his biggest ones. It might have been Snowflakes, and it was before he released it. And he played it for us on the bed.
What?
And we're like,
This
I'm like,
unreleased
bro,
song.
you need to release that. And he's like, I know.
That's so crazy.
I'm not
bro.
sure if it was Snowflakes or another one, but it was so beautiful when he played it. And then he gets up, he's like, boys, I've got to take a piss. And he goes to our wine cooler on our bedside table, takes it into the closet, pulls down his pants, and starts pissing in our wine cooler in the closet.
Ed Sheeran did
you
this.
see his?
No, I didn't see his, unfortunately.
You could have sold that photo for a lot of money.
But
That's wild.
It's so cool to say, because
5
my
toilets.
memory of my past is...
He had 5 toilets. He chose the wine cooler.
It's true. Yeah.
In that state, he's like, can't be bothered.
It's so cool to say, because my memory of my past is this big celebrity pissing in my closet.
That's cool, man.
That's
That's
He's Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
Awesome. Wow. Okay. So obviously, yeah, as we said before, you've gone through all these incredible, crazy, spontaneous highs, and
yeah.
you know, you're in LA.
bathrooms.
You're having Ed Sheeran piss in your closet, you know, having Kylie Jenner, Kim Kardashian come to all your parties, and yeah, I think now's a good time to sort of transition that sort of story and that part of your life into what sort of led you to, I guess, getting out of that lifestyle, and what actually led you guys, you know, to split up and all these things. So, as you said, you were on medication, you were depressed, you were anxious, you know, your ego inflated to the point where you thought you were better than people and better than opportunities. So what do you think was the pivotal moment where that sort of momentum transpired in a negative way?
It probably would have been
Gradual.
the first puff of a joint.
Right.
Yeah, wow. Just
Saying
that
yes
first
for the
puff.
first time and feeling that great sensation of high that I kept trying to chase but never received.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, started from a joint and then just spiraled.
Yeah, it spiraled to, as soon as I tasted the joint, every single day. From
Wow.
that day,
Wow.
every single day, and it'll be waking up in the morning,
Wake and
lunchtime,
bake.
dinner, after food, when I'm excited, when I'm sad, just became my vice. And that ended up just defining my character.
And you said you guys, you and your, you know, your brothers and you know, you guys started turning on each other. Is that due to that as well? Was that due to the, I guess, addiction?
Yeah, it would have been because of the addiction. Like, we weren't clear-minded and stuff to
Yeah.
really have one tunnel vision towards success. So that would have probably eaten us up a lot. But my brothers and I used to physically fight before we got into the Janoskians. And then once we got into the Janoskians, we tried not to because we didn't want to physically fight in front of people.
Of course.
You don't want to do that. Like, but when you're living with friends and brothers together, it's inevitable. The brothers are going to fight.
You're gonna clash.
So it kind of put all of our friends on eggshells to be like, oh, when is one of the brothers going to tick off?
Yeah.
Yep.
So you can't really live with friends and do business at the same time. So that was
is
another
hard.
factor. There were many different factors that came in, but it was just something that was inevitable. The group was always going to break up because we had fame at such an early age. We weren't equipped to know how to deal with it long term.
So when did it happen? Like, when did you guys go, like, after your tours, you started, you had your first joint, you had some fights, like, were you guys like, fuck this? You know, like,
Yeah.
we're ending this now. Or did someone leave? Like, what was
happened,
the, you
yeah.
know?
It was just like people not willing to show up in videos anymore. And then the fans addressing that, and then us resenting each other. And then if we were lucky, we would have 3 in a video. And then it's just like, this isn't even fun anymore. We're draining it. Like,
Yeah, it lost its
just,
spark.
yeah, I lost the spark. Yeah. And we came back to Australia and we really, like, we gave it another push. We tried, but it's just like,
You didn't feel it.
yeah, we didn't feel it. Like, it's not something we enjoy anymore. And
Yeah, you
we
have
even
to
said
enjoy
no
it.
to the money, like, at the end. Like,
Yeah.
we were pulling in towards the end. Like, it went up and down, but down when it was, like, finally finished, we're pulling in, like, 15K a month, which is, like, the lower end of the spectrum. But we even said no to that because we're like, it's not even worth being on camera and faking it.
Wow.
So,
Wow. Well, that, I guess that just shows how genuine you guys were.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
even at the worst point where a lot of people are desperate, they will just do
anything.
anything to get a bag.
Yeah,
You guys
keep
were
it
like,
going.
if our heart's not in it, we're just gonna stop. And so what? And then you guys just all went to, you know, normal jobs and like, what happened then?
Because sorry to cut you off. I remember, I think I met you guys the moment you came back to Australia.
yeah. So it was when I came to Australia, that's when I started getting on the hard drugs, like the party drugs.
Do you think you were chasing the high of the fame that you first had when you first went to LA? It's like that new high where you're obviously adrenaline, serotonin is through the roof in a good way. Do you think that this behavior and what were you always trying to chase that because you were young? Were you trying to get back to that level, or where do you think it came from? Yeah.
Yeah, that they say that the high that you get from some drugs is very similar to a stage rush that you get of a whole crowd. Like, but what I was chasing was people idolizing me, and I'd allow a whole bunch of yes people around me to, you know, give me the drugs and give me alcohol so they make me feel like a celebrity.
Oh,
and
okay,
a lot like how I mentioned before, Jay's ex-girlfriend, I allowed that into my life. And if someone wasn't laughing at my jokes, I'd go find somebody that was.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And so I was chasing that validation from people that I needed to find within myself,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
just didn't know how yet.
Yeah, you're looking externally.
Yeah, I was looking externally, and that went on for four or 5 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's like the whole demise of my success.
Wow. So looking back, I'd love to touch on that. Looking back, obviously you're looking at this with a fresh set of eyes, a new perspective, probably a much more wise and learnt perspective on that experience. If you could go back or speak to your younger self or advise other younger people who may potentially go down that path, what could you have done differently? What could you have had people around you?
Yeah.
What mindset could you have had to stop maybe the super high, super low crash? Like, do you have any
I say
advice?
this a lot. If I could do anything differently, go back, it would be to call my mum a lot more.
And stay away from the drugs.
Yeah, because my mum keeps me very grounded.
Yep.
Yeah.
She
I
knows
met your
the
mum.
true
She's
me.
cool.
Yeah.
Mums are amazing, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mums
Okay,
are
so
amazing.
keep your family around you to keep you in check. Yeah.
I'd go to the effort to call my mum because that's what it takes. It takes you to go to the effort to get what you want. And no matter how successful I always was, mum always said it how it was.
Yeah.
So I avoided that for a long time because I didn't want to be told.
Yeah. You just
Yeah,
want to live in
just-
the delusion almost.
Yeah, I wanted to live in that delusion. Yeah.
And when you came back to Australia, obviously it's such a massive change from that high that you just mentioned. So your coping mechanism was just drugs, was it, and alcohol and partying, and like how did that I guess contribute to a sort of downfall with that addiction? So like what sort of, I guess my question is, what happened after that got us through sort of like everything that happened?
Yeah, so it was the weekend binge drinking, and then it was like Saturdays merged into the Sundays, and then it was the cocaine started coming in with the drinks, so I couldn't drink unless I had cocaine with me. And then it became I can only interact with people unless I have alcohol. So that alcohol and cocaine came in maybe 3 times a week, 4 times a week.
Yep.
And then that's when the prescription pills started to come in. I was introduced to somebody that was actually prescribed prescription pills for their depression and anxiety, but also did a lot of party drugs. So I was just given 50 pills at a time.
Whoa.
And
So you're mixing.
and it's very, very dangerous for your heart as well. If you're doing cocaine and then you're doing a downer, it can create your heart rhythm. You can have a heart attack.
Yeah.
And that's eventually what I think ended up happening to me. It was one night, it was a cocktail and a mixture of drugs. It was weed, alcohol, cocaine, prescription pills, and a hallucinogenic and something else. I can't remember, but it was a mixture of everything. And this was on my mum's 50th birthday.
Wow.
And I go into my bed and I fall back. And I don't know if my heart stopped or if I was hallucinating, but I do know something approached itself to me. Something words can't explain, but it was an entity of some type. It was some say a message from God or a message from the universe or the great divine. And it was like, this is why you're here. You don't need to be here, but you choose to be here because you want to be here for your family. And it was for my family that I decided to come back. And the only way I could be there for my family was to work on myself first, to look myself in the mirror, kick out anything that's not making me the person that I want to be I want to be the person that my mum can come up to and talk to or have a laugh with and not worrying about, is he coming down or is he in a bad place mentally or is he about to go do drugs. I just wanted to be that person for my family emotionally, but also financially.
Yeah.
And
Bro, that's inspiring. I love
Thank
that.
you.
100%,
That's really,
yeah.
really cool.
yeah, I say this every single day to everyone around me. I'm so blessed to have a second chance at life and to give it another shot. And I was not given a chance by people automatically. It took so much hard work. And I still think I'm still very early on in my sobriety. It's only 15 months, but it's a big amount of time for where I was at.
Bro,
It's
it's
amazing,
massive
bro.
achievement.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
You
thank
can
you.
obviously see
Incredible,
the
man.
fruit of that. You can see that you got so much potential and the trajectory is going to be incredible.
And
that-
can I
so
just
that- sorry.
can I just ask as well, when you were sort of going, when you had that addiction before that one night where you saw something, what was your daytime like? So you were obviously partying and everything. Were you guys working when you came back to Australia? Were you just chilling?
Yeah, I had like a few on and off jobs here and there. Like I was working in a junkyard here and there, but it was like all the money that I got would just go straight towards weekend. So it was like I'll work 5 days a week, just so those 2 days I can enjoy. And so it was like I was stuck in a prison or a cell because 5 days I hated my life and I chose to hate my life to enjoy too. Whereas now I'm like, I love every single day and I enjoy every single day. And like
A lot of people do that though.
Well, live for the weekend.
A lot
a
of people
trap.
live for
Yeah,
the
a lot of people
weekend,
do.
bro.
It's a systematic trap,
even in
bro.
corporate,
Absolutely.
like even in other industries.
Yeah, it's massive.
They literally hate their job.
Yeah.
I'm not saying everyone, but I know personally people that hate their job and they just can't wait for the weekends to just send it, get drunk with their mate. Which again, no judgment. Everyone open to whatever they want to do.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think it's amazing and it's inspiring that now you're living a very humble life, but you're enjoying every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a crazy.
And it is hard work, man. Like I don't have a car or anything, so sometimes I'm walking in the rain from work to the bus stop. But those moments, I actually think back. I'm like, yeah, this sucks, but how lucky am I to be able to notice this pain and
100%.
get myself out of this situation
Yeah,
to
100%.
work
That's
towards
so
something
cool.
bigger.
100%.
And that's where I get excitement from, and that's where a lot of my content comes from. And I get rewarded for that as well, which is also enjoyable because people say, we see your trajectory, and it's nice to be validated on a path that you know you're building towards something good.
Yes.
So
Starting from the
Probably
bottom
feels
again.
more- yeah.
starting from the bottom, and
bro.
enjoying the process. That's what it's all about. And every successful person that you'll meet will tell you that's the fun part, the grind, the first million, and then you know, once you figure that out,
So,
100%.
Yeah.
so family was the main thing that helped you get out of the addiction.
that was
Wow.
number one was
your
family. But I realized after that it wasn't about family; it was about myself.
Yeah.
And I can only allow as much love that I give myself in
Of
by
course,
other
you got to
people.
love yourself first.
Yeah, so it started with family. That was the thing. And then I realized it's about myself.
Now, after you had this realization, I remember hearing from someone or even yourself that you got a girlfriend and then you married her and you became Muslim.
Sorry, after my realization.
Yeah, was that after
No,
or was that
this was before.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
You got married.
So
Yeah, I got married. I got married.
This is when you came back to Australia, right?
Yeah, I came back to Australia and I was in the party scene and I met this girl through the party scene, and her parents are very strict Muslim. Like they enforce things onto her, which is I don't think is a very good thing to do. But that's the way she felt, and she told me that they were enforcing things on her. So she kind of lashed out and went to parties, and that's how I met her.
Oh.
And so she kind of introduced me to some stuff as well.
In Islam?
And no, she said to me, she's like, I like you, and I can tell you like me. If you're thinking about getting together, I'm more than happy to elope from my parents. And I'm like,
Elope.
I could never imagine being the reason for making
Someone
somebody
to lose
do
their
that.
parents.
Yeah.
So I said, you know what? Like, I'll just try the Islam thing and just like make your parents happy. I'll just do it just to make your parents happy.
Wow.
It's pretty selfless.
So my nunna, because they were like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I fell into it very hard because I found something in Islam that I didn't have, which was discipline. But I got so obsessed with Islam that it ended up becoming my identity, and I ended up losing the girl because I became exactly like her father and tried to shove
Control?
the religion
Wow.
onto her.
Yeah, wow.
Really?
Yeah. So that was, they say like people that join Islam go in very like lightly because some people do hurt themselves out of it because it is very disciplined, and the discipline's good, but if you can control it. But I was coming straight from an addictive personality and outlet, so it didn't work well with me, and she lashed out on me because of it, and I divorced her, and that was the end of that chapter. And
Wow.
yeah,
Bro, you've had
You've
some
done it all,
life,
eh?
man. You've had
Insane.
some life.
How long were you guys together if you got married?
we were only together for 6 months.
That's insane.
And then you got married.
No, we were married for 6 months. I was seeing her for about 1 month or 2 months.
Oh my
That's
god.
crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
2
something you would
months?
do, right?
Yeah.
Jamie would get married to a chick after 1 month.
No, I'm learning from the best over here,
Yeah.
right, guys.
So
I
it's
won't
a
make that
life
mistake.
lesson for you,
2
bro.
months you know her. 2 months you know her. You get married. 6 months together.
1 month in you.
So 1 month you know her. You're married for 6 months. You divorce, and then now you're just like, all right, I need a break.
Because I had that discipline in that marriage. It was
Yeah.
very strict. So I stopped all alcohol and drugs. I'm like, this is my savior now. As soon as the marriage ended, I went straight to the bottle shop. I got 6 cans and smashed it in front of her and just drank it. I'm like, this is what you want.
my
And then from there, it was just
Wow.
game over.
And what year are we talking now? Where are we at?
2019.
Okay, because I remember you and I used to hang out a lot. We used to film videos in 2017, 2018.
Yeah.
And so this must have been because we used to party a lot together. I remember that.
Yeah.
We were all going through like a pretty corrupted time of our lives
Yeah,
together.
we were just like really trying. We were craving for attention at
We
that
were,
point.
100%, bro.
Yeah, we was
Yeah.
doing whatever we could, but
So
it was a
much,
blessing
yeah.
in disguise because that like sent you all the way up.
Yeah,
it
right.
did. It really did, and like you went through it all to be able
Yeah.
to be where you are now, and now you
100%.
have that platform
Yeah.
from that.
Yeah.
So it is a blessing in disguise because you can use that platform for what you're doing now.
And,
Absolutely, bro.
And,
Yeah, love
and
that.
you know, similar to you, after all this success, Jamie actually did have a big fall, which you know we've talked about
Huge
a lot.
fall, man.
A
Yeah.
massive negative spiral, which you know helped him find God.
Yeah.
Which now has been his his base and his I guess support to where he is now. So you know, I wanna get back to you've had your ups, you've had your downs, you've gotten sober. Now, how did we get into the nut factory? Like, what was there just the local nut factory, and you're like, I like nuts. Like, how did it happen? Were you just like, I need a job? This is open. Like, how did it happen?
And
So,
so before
yeah.
you talk about that, what were the other boys doing at this time?
While I got a job at the nut factory.
Just after you guys came back in those couple of years, like were the other boys sort of as lost and partying?
Yeah,
like you
yeah, they
or-
were kind of like grabbing at like a brand deal here and there, and just like one-off jobs, and kind of just trying to find what they wanted to do and what they were good at.
Sure, okay.
So the peanut factory was from a friend. He's like my closest friend that I've had since high school, and he was working at the peanut factory for like 4 years. And I'm like, I just need an income because I was living off Centrelink for so long. And I'm like,
wow.
I'm sick of this. Like, I'm sick of like going on social media and trying to monetize off it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just became so like repetitive and draining, very draining. So I'm like, I just want to get a job, get consistent income. I don't care. I'm young. I'll work hard while I'm young, and I'll set some goals. My first goal is I want to save for a car. My second goal is I'd like to save for a house. Third goal is I'd like to get married someday. So I want to invest and put money aside financially, but I also want to be able to be a productive member of society where I felt like I was giving back, and everyone loves peanuts.
What did you do?
So I
what did
felt
you
like-
do?
Who
Did you
doesn't
just
like
sort?
peanuts?
Did you sort? Like, what did you do? What do you do at the peanut factory? Do you sort peanuts?
So
What do you do,
a
yeah?
box would come in with like raw peanuts, and then I grab the 20-kilo box, chuck it into a hopper, and then the hopper would push the nuts and shoot them into bags. And then other people grab the bags, put them in a box, and then put them on a pallet, and then the truck comes, picks up the pallet, and takes it to
Sick.
Coles.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Do you ever sit there like during the day, obviously going through about your tasks and think like life's crazy, man?
Yeah,
Think
yeah,
about,
I was
like
about
to
where,
ask that
where I
question.
was, like the highs, like everything
Yeah.
that's happened to where
Kylie
you are
Jenner's
now.
in my fucking party, and,
Yeah.
and then now I'm like sending nuts to Coles.
Because we're also massive.
Yeah.
We're massive on mindset, right? And
Yeah.
I think just from talking to you, I obviously don't know you as well as Jamie does, but even hearing that, like, it seems like your perspective on things has shifted to the point where you can actually find joy in those small
Yeah.
things.
That's
Like
so
almost
amazing.
more joy than you did
Yeah.
have, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
everything is perspective. Like your perspective becomes your reality. So
Yeah.
what's that? Like, do you ever have random thoughts? You're like, life's crazy. I'm so much more
Yeah.
grateful for it now.
Can-
Just
can-
doing this
Yeah,
little
bro.
job. Like,
Can you imagine you're pouring nuts, and then you're getting flashbacks of this beautiful life you've had?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, it's fun to think about my past, and it's not something negative. It gets,
Yeah.
sometimes it even gets me through.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sometimes I do get a little bit frustrated because I'm like, I should have done better with these opportunities. But then I think, what opportunity do I have now?
Yeah.
That's to get full time here. So I'm not going to mess that up by
Yeah.
crying about the past.
Wow, what a
I'm going to
perspective.
take every single opportunity that I get and put my best foot forward. And at the moment, like, it's so crazy. All these opportunities are just coming in everywhere. And
It's awesome, bro.
yeah, it's something that I've learned from my past.
That's incredible, because when I had my downfall, which lasted a while actually, I was very broke myself. I lost all my money. I lost everything. I lost the fame and all that stuff as well. And I remember, like, some people would say to me, bro, like, if you're that low on money, just get a normal job. And I'm going to be honest with you, I couldn't do it. My ego was just like,
You felt offended, yeah?
I felt offended. I'm like,
Yeah.
what do you mean I have to get a normal
Yeah,
job?
that's
So
how I
you're
felt.
thinking like people are going to see you in like Coles or
Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
which is a fine job,
Yeah.
well-paying job,
Yeah.
Bro.
But people are going to see you in Coles and go, oh my god, Jamie Zoo's, you know, at the checkout giving me my grapes.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
And-
you know
and-
what I mean?
Yeah.
And bro,
yeah.
like this, sorry to cut you off, but this whole thing happened to me only like 2-3 years ago, where I lost everything and I had to rebuild myself. And now, you know, we're blessed to be here. But this is what I said to you before, like in our DMs. I think your story is so powerful because you are literally backflipping the entire way that people see success. Because people see success as materialism, fame, money, status, right? But you're someone that has had all that to such a high degree, much more than me. And now you humbling yourself and doing, you know, what you have to do as a man now, despite everything that's happened, and you could call it your downfall. But you're proving that, you know, on your stories and on your Instagram, you're catching the bus places. You're working at a peanut factory. Like, even to me, in being in a position that I've been in for 10 years now in the social media spotlight, I can't fathom driving my mum's 2023
learn a
Corolla.
lot. You can learn a
I'm
lot
learning
from
off
him.
you, bro, because
Yeah,
I still
that's
struggle
cool.
with that every single day of my life. And I'm like, well, no, because like people see me as this, and I should be like this, and I should wear these things and have this car. But like,
You have to think about
I'm still struggling, bro.
you
So
have
I
to
can
think
learn
about
off you.
other people that
100%.
have got
Yeah.
it so much more worse than you.
Yeah.
100%.
And you have to be that light for other people to give them the strength to be accepting of their own lives, because like it or not, they might not live long if they're not happy throughout the duration of it. That's sad, man. Like,
Yeah.
But you're so content, man. Like you said, you're working in a mailroom now, right?
yeah.
But
yeah.
you're
It's
working
amazing.
in a mailroom. Your thing is like, I don't care where I'm working. I'm making money.
Yeah.
I'm supporting myself and hopefully my family.
Yeah.
And look, you've had some, you know, some momentum. You've had some exposure again.
Yeah.
Because you just put your head down.
Yeah.
You said, I'm just going to work and
Yeah.
some opportunities are opening up again.
And you're
Yeah.
having this exposure and this momentum now because you're being so real, bro.
Yeah.
It's like you're not trying to fabricate. You're not trying to be who people thought you were before.
Yeah.
You're literally saying to people, this
I went
was
the
my
opposite.
life. But now I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I don't have that success or that fame or that money that I used to have. And that is the power in your story,
It's
bro.
authentic, bro. People relate to that.
So what's next? What's next for Beau Brooks?
Not Boo.
Not
he
Beau
calls
Brooks.
you Boo Brooks.
What's next for Beau Brooks? You know, you've obviously you've got your eye on a lot of things, and you've always had, you know, aspirations and things. What's next? Where are we going?
Where are we at now? Yeah. What are we doing?
I'd like to just put my best foot forward for the opportunities that come to me, and the ones that stand out at the moment are public speaking and being on stage. It's just something I've always loved to do, and I truly do believe that there's some good songs to be put out there,
Amazing.
out of my heart. So
Wow, bring back the singing.
yeah,
Beautiful.
and even if only like my mom hears it or whatever, but like I don't know what the future will
Maybe
bring,
a
but I
collab with
know,
Ed Sheeran.
yeah. I do know for certain that the future is going to be good, but there are going to be some challenges and some really
100%, of
hard
course.
times. So I'm just preparing myself for it while also acknowledging that it's going to be very bright. I see a very
Amazing.
bright future ahead.
Love it, bro.
So do
It's
I,
so
bro.
important.
So, bro, like, what's, you know, I guess to wrap things up if we want, like, what's the key takeaway here about what you've learned about life? You've gone through so many extremes, right? You've gone from the absolute high that everyone thinks is the epitome of success. You've got all the money, the fame, Kylie Jenner, Kim Kardashian, Ed Sheeran at your fingertips, whatever that means. To then, obviously, as I said before, you're working a normal job.
Maybe three kind of takeaways.
What's the key takeaways that you've realized about life and talk us through that.
Yeah, go in with the right intentions.
Yep.
Don't do it for fame. Do it for progress.
Yep.
Don't take everything so seriously and live in the moment.
Right, love it. Well, that's the perfect way to wrap it up. And if people want to find you and follow you on this journey, obviously you have a bright future and some amazing things happening. Where can people find you?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram, which is at Beau Peter Brooks, which is where I post most of my content, or on TikTok, it's Beau Brooks. Other than that, hopefully in more
Spotify soon.
podcasts,
Yeah.
Spotify,
Nice, bro.
and hopefully maybe, who knows, everywhere.
Awesome, bro. Amazing
bro.
story. We learned so much, and I'm sure the people at home did as well. So we appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having
That's
me.
a wrap, brother.
Thanks for setting the stage. This is mad. This is so good.